Hello everybody from the ADI Wildlife Sanctuary in South Africa. We've got an absolutely beautiful spring afternoon, so we thought it would be really nice to try and do a Facebook Live. We've missed you all over the winter months when the weather wasn't quite nice enough for us to be able to do these Facebook Lives. So this afternoon we thought let's have you join us as we go round and do some enrichment with some of the residents. And here at the moment is somebody that's probably not featured that often, actually, is Rolex. He is pacing up and down just a little bit, I think because he knows Shujaa and Saham are next door. Rolex was actually Leo, if everybody remembers Leo. This is Leo's son, and he lives with his sister Africa and Kiara. They aren't in the same habitat, but they live next door to each other, just with a little fence between them, and they enjoy each other's company. But Rolex these days is spending time over this side of his habitat with Shujaa and Saham. He's always very interested to know what the boys are doing next door, but we thought we would start with Rolex. So as you can see, the sanctuary is looking nice and green. A little unusual. Summer is when we get our rain, so we've had a fair amount of rain in the last couple of weeks. Everything's starting to look nice and green. All the flowers are coming out, the grass is growing, it's all looking very fresh at the moment. So as we walk along, we're going to see Saham. And I think anybody that remembers him from when he arrived back in May 2024 will be surprised at how much he's grown. His brother's going to come over, I think, at the moment as well. He's wondering what all the attention is. Shujaa and Saham were rescued from Kuwait. They were part of the illegal pet trade. People seem to think that these animals are great status symbols until they start growing up, and they were abandoned. We rescued 6 from Kuwait. These 2 brothers have been together ever since they arrived and are growing up to be pretty spectacular, very big. And you will see here from Saham, his mane has grown since he first arrived. He's beginning to get that mane that's growing between his legs, underneath his front legs, you will see that, and that's all a sign of really good health. And Shujaa's starting to come and join us as well. I think he was wanting to know what was going on with Rolex next door. Shujaa and Saham are fairly habituated to people. He's going to have a good old nose to see what's going on here, simply because they were raised by people. We've given them their freedom now. They have this very large habitat that they're in, and they can spend their day wherever they want, hiding under the trees or into their feeding camp, their night house. But we do tend to find whenever we come close that they do want that company. So I have Johannes with us this afternoon. Johannes, have you seen a difference since they arrived?
Hello everyone, welcome to ADI. Yes, as you can see them now, they are so growing every day. They are big, they look so healthy, they are enjoying the big space here. As you can see now, we're at the spring, everything is green. They're just enjoying to explore the habitat and see the neighbor Rolex. So every time they're just enjoying to go to the platform under the trees everywhere. So really, yes, there's a big difference.
So both of these boys, I think, Johannes, are pretty big roarers, aren't they? We can generally hear them at night.
Yes, definitely, yes, especially Shujaa. I think he's the one who roared the best. So everyone is just enjoying, even during the night. the security can just tell us that they are enjoying everything in his habitat, walking up and down, making friends with Rolex. So yes, definitely yes.
Right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to explore the sanctuary a little bit more. We're going to stop off at some of our residents. We're going to give them a little bit more of their Halloween enrichment. Don't worry about those that we're not stopping at, because we also have other members of the resident welfare team going out and giving enrichment this afternoon. But we've decided to pop along and see I think some of our Guatemalan rescues that we've done. So we'll go along at the moment and let's go and see Tomas and Kimba. So we're using our little electric utility vehicles to get around the sanctuary. We use these generally for our daily operations, the feeding, our rounds, and they're nifty little things and fully solar powered. So, you know, really helping us with our green sanctuary. As we go along, the next habitat I'm just going to stop at just for a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds. This is where Tanya and Tarzan lived, and I would just like to say thank you to all of you supporters that have really been so great in helping the team and understand what we kind of went through when we lost Tanya and Tarzan. It was a huge loss for us, and we really appreciate all the comments and the support that we've received during that time. The habitat at the moment is still empty. We're deciding who will be moving in next, but at the moment I think the team, when we go past, we still have a moment of quiet reflection and missing those two hugely. So in the next habitat we do have David. I'm not sure whether he's going to grace us with his presence on warm days like today. He tends to go into, oh there he is, I was going to say he does tend to be by his night house in the shade. Not sure if you can see him by the gate there. He has a lovely mane, looks absolutely beautiful, and he's always very, very interested as we drove past. So the other part of the resident welfare team, we're just actually going to go past them. They're going to come through and give him some enrichment as well. So we have had some incredible rains, quite a storm actually on Friday evening, and we've lost our grid electricity, but we're very, very thankful that we've actually got our solar power, because we've managed to keep our operations growing, and that again is thanks to all the support you've given us with us being able to go ahead with the solar power. We've been without grid electricity since Friday morning, and yet here we are managing to continue on. On our left is Sasha Tiger. We've actually moved her some months ago, just before Coralie and Goliath arrived, and she's absolutely loving this habitat. She's a lot more visual, whereas before she would hide from us a little bit. I think she's grown in confidence, hasn't she, Johannes?
Yes, definitely. Yes, as you can see now, he's up here. He's trying to make friends with Tomas and Kimba. All the time she's just exploring. She goes down to next to Lupe or Luna, and she's enjoying this. And then sometimes she's go to the feeding camp to see Max and Strive over close to his feeding camp. So yes, definitely there's a lot of improvement from her. He loved this habitat.
And what we have started to do is, they don't have contact at this point, but we are bringing Luna through into this habitat when Sasha's in her feeding camp, just to see how the girls are getting on and whether there's any interest that they might want to live together. Luna obviously lost Jade at the beginning of the year, was clearly very depressed, and Sasha's on her own, so we're trying that out, but Luna will give the indication in the end as to whether she wants to be still with Sun and Moon, or whether she would like to be through with Sasha. Now we do have a little treat for Sasha, so that's why she's looking over our shoulders, and we're just going to throw it over to her, a little bit of Halloween fun. Just a warning, Sasha tends to take her enrichment and then run off with it. She seems to know she's got an audience this afternoon. So here she is with her enrichment box that we have just sprayed some lavender on. They react to a lot of the different smells. So we can use catnip sometimes, we can use lavender, and also spices. Funny enough, old perfumes, but it's all great enrichment for them. She's going to destroy that. So watching quite intently from the other side is actually Tomas and Kimba. So we'll just pop over to them. Now Sasha, Tomas and Kimba were all rescued from circuses in Guatemala. Right, so we'll go over to Tomas, who's looking very interested in what we're going to throw over. Tomas and Kimba generally don't respond to enrichment. We do still give it to them. I think, what are they getting this afternoon, Johannes?
You're going to just get a small pumpkin that we prepare for them, so hopefully maybe they will enjoy it. But sometimes they don't respond, so we are hoping today they will.
That's normally about as much interest as they give. Everybody must remember these are cats. Big cats, but they're still cats. Tomas, some of you may recall, did have an operation earlier this year. Yes, so Tomas had an operation earlier in this year. We're not sure of the cause of how it happened, but his intestines actually looped around one another. But you can see that he is looking fit, he's looking healthy, he's being very demanding with his food, so his appetite has returned. And they do love, these two love spending time in their main habitat, sitting up on their den, really looking at everything that's around. And we integrated Tomas and Kimba a while ago. They obviously knew each other from the circus. They were more or less next door to each other in the circus wagon. Very, very small place, so they would have been very, very close in those days, which made this integration quite easy. Next door to them, and she seems as though she's hiding away, is Sasha. she is very, very close to them as well. And when Tomas was away for his operation, she kept Kimba company at the fence line. Right, I think, is Sasha still with her enrichment, or is she watching what we're doing? Sasha is very, very interested in Tomas and Kimba. Kimba was a little confused when she first arrived. There was, why has he suddenly got a tiger next to him? But they're all getting on very well, and she's spending a lot of time in their company. You can see how relaxed she's looking these days. She still likes to play games with us. Every so often she'll hide behind a bush and pretend that she's not there. In the distance I can actually see either Max or Stripes trying to see what's going on. So I think we'll go around, see the boys, and give them some enrichment Halloween treats as well. And usually we've got a glare from the, hopefully it's not affecting our filming too much, but there is a, you know, very strong sun at the moment. The sunsets are absolutely beautiful that we're having at the moment. This is a great time of year at the sanctuary, I have to say. Swing round, go back. Tomas and Kimba have pretty much left us and have walked up to the other end of their habitat, so it's nice for them to have the freedom to make the decision to do that, something that they couldn't ever do in the circus. I think Sasha's trying to hide from us, isn't she? Very engaged with us these days. She does like to join us on these drives when we do the morning rounds, checking on every single resident, check that they're all okay in the morning. She's pretty much doing this with us, and it's so nice to see her now being so happy in this habitat. Here we've got a very interested Max and Stripes wanting to know what's going on this afternoon and if they're going to get any Halloween treats as well. Max and Stripes, if you can see a comparison in size to Sasha, are a lot bigger. They were rescued when they were cubs, so benefited from good food. They had space to move, space to play. They haven't had the stress once they were rescued that some of our other residents have, so have grown up to be big healthy boys. And we'll stop in a minute and give them some enrichment. Where they have a big pool. In the summer months they love to spend time in this pool. It's where we can regularly find them. And again, over the last few years, they've become very confident. They're very happy to be seen. They're not hiding away, as you can see now. So we're going to give them, I think, some pumpkins. As always, they have to check each other's treats out to make sure one hasn't got a better one than the other one. So this is Max having a good old sniff of this pumpkin here to see what it is. Not sure whether anybody's heard the noise in the background there, but that is our donkeys who are free roaming around the sanctuary, but are just kind of above this habitat at the moment, and that was them just calling. But a very peaceful scene with Max and Stripes here. This is how they're getting to spend their days at the moment. The grass is getting a little bit longer, so they quite often hide from us. We have a job finding them in the mornings, but it's nice that they can have the freedom to do what they want to do now. So impatiently waiting, and I'm going to say impatiently because he just loves his enrichment, is Muheeb. I hope when you see him, you'll see how healthy he's looking. He did have the diagnosis of cancer, intestinal cancer, and at the moment he's looking fantastic. He's fully engaged. We did blood tests fairly recently on him, and there's no further deterioration at the moment, but he loves his enrichment, so I think we need to get to him before he paces any further. So normally when we give Muheeb his enrichment, he'll give us a little growl, which is basically telling us that this is his and his alone, not to be shared. So a far cry from the lion that Jan and Tim first saw in Kuwait in the zoo when they went to visit him initially. Very clearly telling us that that is his pumpkin, nobody else's pumpkin. As I said, when Jan and Tim first visited him in Kuwait, he was exceedingly shy, very, very quiet, and the fact that he can now express himself like this, I think is just wonderful. You know, he doesn't feel threatened, he can say and do what he wants, he can vocalize that to us. And as I said, this is his way of saying, this is my pumpkin, leave me alone. We will leave him so that he can relax. And then really enjoy that enrichment. Muheeb does tend to savour it. He's going to be with that for quite some time, enjoying it once we've gone away. And I can guarantee tomorrow morning when the resident welfare team go to tidy up, Muheeb would have destroyed the pumpkin. You might, I don't know, yeah, Aziza's in the background there, trying to see what's going on. She still has her little obsession. Aziza is another of the lions that we rescued from Kuwait, again from the illegal pet trade. Now we're just going to stop on the corner here, just a little treat, a little extra. We have got other residents that stay with us other than the lions and tigers. We have a good relationship with the local SPCA, and Roosevelt and Churchill, the two pigs, are here. So Renee is just going to give them a little bit of a Halloween treat in the fact that they're getting their dinner in a pumpkin. So the boys are normally very enthusiastic for their food. You can hear them saying to Renee, can we please have dinner? Beautifully served food. So Renee has her hands full these days with all the animals that we have helped the SPCA with. In the background you might be able to see some geese. So Waldo and Toity had some little goslings not too long ago, and they've grown very, very quickly, all very healthy, very safe. So yeah, so the geese have the option if they want to fly off. They don't seem to want to. I think they enjoy Renee looking after them and them getting spoilt. We've put them in with the pigs so that everybody sort of has a little bit of a relationship with one another. But yeah, Roosevelt and Churchill, huge favourites of the staff here. And we would just like to say thank you to Sarah. I know that she's helped them with these pumpkins this afternoon and their little treats, so thank you, Sarah. I think some very, very happy pigs with their pumpkin, their food, all nicely fresh actually. You can see probably just, he's dropped his tomato there, but he will pick that one up later. Just beginning to lose a little bit of that thicker, coarse hair that he has during the winter months as it's beginning to get a little warmer. So that's what those patches are at the moment. So. Muheeb in the distance here is going underneath his A-frame. These literally almost like bamboo structures are hugely popular with our residents. They provide a lot of shade in the summer months, and yet they can still see what's going on because they can see through them. So they really enjoy sleeping in these. I say that probably apart from Coco and Mahla that decide to use them actually as climbing gym frames, but thank you to everybody that has helped us purchase those as well. Your donations really are put to good use in giving these residents the best life that they can have under the circumstances. Well, Muheeb's gonna come and join us. I think he wants to know whether he's got any more enrichment today. So again, very engaged and looking unbelievably healthy given his condition. And here's little Aziza. We call her little Aziza. She's not grown much since she arrived, but she has huge personality. Behind her you can actually see the travel crates that came with the original residents, and we've put them to good use. They're in the habitats. The residents really enjoy lying on them, climbing on them, sitting on the top of them, but at the same time it gets them used to these crates in case we have veterinary visits. So there's quite a practical purpose as well as an enjoyment purchase. But here's Aziza wanting to know what's going on, but she will be getting enrichment from the other team as they come around shortly. I think in the back you can also see Max and Stripes that want to know what's going on as well. We're in luck this afternoon. All the Kuwait, I call them babies, but they're not babies anymore. They've grown up quite a lot. Dabir wants to know what's going on, and then Saif has come over as well. Definitely grown, I think, since in the last 6 months in particular. As pets, they were not given proper nutrition. They would have not had their freedom. I apologise for that. We do have a dip in our internet in certain parts of the sanctuary at the moment. Right. And we are going to hopefully see Coralie and Goliath in a minute. Just go. Right, hopefully we've reconnected. We'll keep with the signal. And here we are, Coralie and Goliath, who joined us back in May this year. Have got fully settled into their habitats. They now have access to the larger habitats that they can go and explore. Here we go, is the absolutely beautiful Goliath.
Come around, she will be fine, and then she will come close to us. But most of the time, she just go a little bit back. But it's just that the confidence, we have to work on her, bring the, and then she can come close to us. But yes, you can just see them there. Sometimes they respond from the enrichment.
Talking of which, do you want to give them some pumpkins? I think they've got a pumpkin each. I don't know how they're going to respond. Goliath is quite protective.
Oh.
Oops. So Coralie has that interest. And it will take them some time to settle. I think, you know, they're very relaxed, still a little nervous at times of us. And we must remember that they've had years of abuse. You know, their approximate ages are around 13, and all the time that they've been with that circus, it would not have been a pleasant environment. So Johannes is working very hard with them at the moment. He's just spending time sitting, bonding, so that they realise that they can actually trust us. Goliath still really enjoys his bed that we made for him when he arrived. I don't know if we can see that. We might lose the connection if we move. And he really enjoys lying on that and watching everything that's going on. Coralie's actually just shown us what we're talking about. So that's Goliath protecting Coralie, as he should do. She's actually going to go into the main habitat now, so you know they can use the feeding camp, the night houses, they can use the main habitats. Everything is open for them to be able to use as they feel comfortable. So I think we will leave these two so that they can settle and enjoy their pumpkins, feeling relaxed without us. I just want to, while we're here, while we're at the cruisers, these Blitz cruisers are electric utility vehicles. We have had these sponsored, so we would like to say thank you. They have been named. I think this one, if you want to have a look, Trevor, is the Jag. They've all been named with their little number plates, which is rather nice. These have been invaluable to us in terms of getting our work done and having no impact really on the environment. We, as I said earlier, we charge them from our solar. The solar panels that we have are our prime source of electricity now. We only have to connect to the grid in absolute emergencies, but particularly as the last few days has proven, this solar has been invaluable to us. We're managing the operations here on solar and not having to use the grid. I'm sorry. Right. Coralie and Goliath have headed out into the main habitat. I'm sure they're going to come back and enjoy those pumpkins a little bit later. They generally do enjoy their enrichment. We gave them some Halloween sacks, and Goliath was having a good old sniff, and Coralie actually came in and stole it right underneath his nose and ran off with it. So they really do enjoy this enrichment. Goliath has come to see us off the property. This is a time of day when they would be more active in the wild, and we find the same here. When it's warm, they have the long sleepy days while we're working around them. And then in the evenings at around this time, sunset, and then first thing in the morning, they're all out, they're all roaring at one another, communicating. And it's quite something to hear when they're all roaring. I don't know whether we can see there, another sign of healthiness, but he does have a little bit of an obsession with. So I don't think we can see them from here, but on our left hand side is Ray, Simba, our two. Alright, so we're going past Coco and Chino. They're always intrigued whenever we go past. I think they're always thinking that food's on its way. They've got good appetites, these two. So we're hoping next year our volunteer program will be up and running. So anybody that does come and volunteer with us, Coco and Chino, who we've just left, will be your neighbours. They're very good at waking you up, being your alarm clock at about 5 o'clock in the morning with their rules. Quite a fantastic sound to hear, particularly if you're just lying in bed next to them. But we'll be announcing when we're going to open that volunteer program. Hopefully we'll be communicating that sometime soon. As we drive along the road, you will see at the side we've made progress with our ditches. We've used stone that was actually found we have on the property, and these ditches have been amazing at channeling our rainwater, and have made a huge difference to the roads, which were not here when the sanctuary was originally set up. But have been fantastic. We've actually got a roadblock with one of our ducks. All animals have right of way here. We just wait until they let us through. Just going to see if it will let us through. This is part of our everyday life. I'm going to just see if I can go around without scaring him too much. Spring is definitely here at the moment. Some of our ducks are nesting, sitting on eggs. So we'll be interested to see if we've got a bigger population of ducks in a couple of months. But they are doing everything that they can or would be able to anywhere else. You know, they have their freedom. We thought it would be nice to finish our Facebook Live today with the Cuscos, with Ray C. The sunsets normally at that end of the sanctuary are quite spectacular. They're what I call an African sunset with the colours that we get. So we're going to head on down there now. As we drive past on the left hand side, This is where Smith lives. The fact that we can't see him is pretty amazing, I think, simply because of the fact he can go, rest, doesn't feel that he needs to be watched the whole time. He will be hiding in the grass somewhere and having a good sleep. For those of you that are fans of Matilda, our rescued cow, she's in this habitat. I think she's right at the other end, but she now has company of her own kind. Over the last couple of months, we have assisted the SPCA with 3 other cows. There is one bull, young, and she was so excited when they arrived. It's, you know, a joy that she can be with her own kind now. The goats and sheep still live there, and she still bosses them around. She's got a huge personality, does Matilda. So you can see that beautiful sunset, and as we drive in this direction, I can see both Scarc and Ray, his father, coming down towards us. So we'll stop at Ray and give him a treat. He is the father of Scarc and Mahla. Although he's not in the same habitat with them, he's just next door and still has a very, very close relationship. So I think we're going to walk down and give them some treats. So the Scarc, Mahla, Kiara are going to have their enrichment later, but we're going to give some to Ray. He's far more engaged these days. So Johannes, do you want to throw that pumpkin over? Ray is always telling us to keep away. He will go to his pumpkin later. It's also a fatherly protection of his children who are next door, but we're going to go and walk around and see them. So Scarc and Mahla, Kiara, Ray, Smith, all are from circuses in Peru. Appalling the way that they were treated. Kiara was separated from her cubs when they were young, through a lot of time and effort and patience. ADI eventually got the cubs back. They were reunited, and Mahla and Scarc are just perfect examples of healthy, very strong lions that have grown up without the stress of the circus. That's Mahla coming to investigate what we're up to. Kiara is way at the back. She's decided to leave her children to play this afternoon. Mahla is always full of energy, wanting to play. She's an amazing footballer. So the difference in her life from what she could have grown up with in the circus had she not been rescued. But she really is in the prime of her life at the moment. Scarc, don't know whether you can see him, is trying to look through to Ray. He spends a lot of time at the fence with Ray, father and son, just enjoying some relaxation time together. I think Ray's going to go and investigate his pumpkin now we're not there, and Scarc's just flopped down. Mahla looking very, very angelic this afternoon. We're used to her running around, playing with whatever we give her, or what we don't give her actually. She enjoys the platforms, she enjoys the trees. You can see how relaxed she is by the way that she is sitting with those two front paws, very relaxed position at the moment. Their habitat is around 3.5 hectares. I'm trying to work that one out in acres. They have a lot of space here. There's various different platforms, there's different trees, they have their crates. Mahla also gets to enjoy often the donkeys and horses that are free roaming that quite often pass here, so she's got those to watch. I think for anybody that is new and doesn't really know much about the history of these animals, they were declawed as part of the circus, and that will, as they get older, cause them considerable pain. They would have been kept in very, very small quarters, circus wagons, which are effectively the size of a double bed, and that's the space, moving constantly, lots of noise, no peace, no quiet, no room to move, and no adequate food. So it's amazing just seeing Mahla here at the moment, for example, just totally relaxed. So none of this would be possible without the help of everybody that supports us. We would like to say a big thank you. Every small amount, big amount, doesn't matter. It goes to helping our residents lead the best life that we possibly can, their care, their food, their enrichment, and the space that they live in. So we do thank you and just ask you to keep those donations coming, please. Oh, very relaxed, Mahla. So I think we'll be drawing a close. Johannes, I think both of us say thank you to everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Facebook Live today. I think all of you enjoyed and seeing the beautiful sanctuary when it's spring like this. Thank you so much. Can you please just keep on donating to help us to keep these residents with a fully life and enjoying enrichment and everything? Can you please just keep on donating and helping us? Thank you.
So we will say goodnight. We'll let you see Mahla and the sun setting in some quiet, but we will hope now that we've come into the summer that we can do more of these Facebook Lives. If there's anybody in particular you would like to see, some information you need, please do ask us. You know, we're more than happy to share your part of their lives just as much as we are. So thank you very much.